and 61 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Ursula Royteen.
From Puyallup to Pinehurst, this is KIRO Radio, 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
The Big Lead is brought to you by 3010 Weight Loss for Life.
The Dori Monson Show on KIRO Radio. This is The Big Lead.
Coming to you from the Carter Subaru studio and streaming on Facebook Live. Welcome to The Big Show. I got a lot to say about this Issaquah High School Tolo invitation. Let's get right to The Big Lead.
The Big Lead. Top story.
As you know, Ursula, I'm a man of broad emotion. I'm moved easily to tears, and I can be moved swiftly to anger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember a time I was this genuinely ticked off at a story as this one last night.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I think the girl deserves her share of the blame. What I am seeing on social media and what I am hearing in elsewhere in the media, it is so out of control that it's like nobody has ever been young or had a kid. It's like these people in the media have never had kids who have gone through a really stupid moment in life. And I don't know what the end result's going to be here, but people have to start chilling out about this. Okay, so the story, as you no doubt know, a girl at Issaquah High School, she invited a guy, I don't know if it's her boyfriend, she invited a guy to Tolo. And the sign said, if I was black, I'd be picking cotton, but instead, I pick you. Tolo? And then it's her and him holding up the sign, and it gets posted to social media. Now, Nicole, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we have an identical story out of Mesa, Arizona over the weekend that we didn't have time to or didn't choose to air with the exact same wording on a sign?
Exact same, except for the boy had given it, or it was a promposal from a boy to a girl.
Okay. So this is something that just happened in Mesa, Arizona. Just over the weekend is when I saw that story. A guy inviting a girl. So this girl obviously sees that. She, for whatever insane reason, she thinks it's funny enough to put on a sign, and to compound the stupidity and insanity, she allows a picture to be taken and it gets posted to social media. Okay, so the reaction to this has been, first of all, I've heard everybody say it's a racist sign. Well, that would suggest that she's a racist. And honestly, we don't know anything about this kid except for the 1/30th of a second that it took to take that picture. We know that it's really stupid. But I think that it's ridiculous for everybody in the media to brand this racist. It's racial because the sign clearly is. Racist means that we know exactly what's in somebody's heart and in their head, and nobody knows anything about this kid. And our baseline is we all agree this is incredibly stupid. It's insensitive. It's ignorant. It's ignorance of American history. Okay, all of that is said. We all agree on that. The girl issued a lengthy apology on social media last night. If you have not heard or read the entire thing, I'm going to share it with you. I want you to know that I am genuinely sorry for the hurt feelings, chaos, and rage that my Tolo poster caused. Unfortunately, the wrong image of myself was portrayed through the words written on the poster. Those who know my true heart know that I am not racist, and that evil way of thinking is something that makes me sick. I have no excuse for what was said, and I take full responsibility. I'm sorry to those who were affected. I feel so genuinely mortified and sorry about the situation, and I am physically ill over it. Racism is not something to be made light of, and I understand that by making that poster, it made me out to look like a racist person. Racism is not what lies within my true heart. The sign was not okay, and I'm sorry. It was wrong, it was hurtful, and it reflected me and who I am in a completely distorted way. I have a kind, loving, genuine soul, and I love all humans as humans. It was not my intention to upset anyone by what I wrote, and if I could go back and change my actions, I would. It was a mistake that wasn't thought through. I have no excuse. I'm only 17, and that's not who I am. From the bottom of my heart, that was not me. That is not how I was raised or what my family believes in, and I understand the severity of what was written. I am sorry. I meant nothing by it. It was just some stupid poster we found on Pinterest. But it wasn't okay for me to copy, and it wasn't funny, and I understand. I'm sorry. What the hell else is she supposed to say after this? What do people want beyond that? Because that is about as full and as contrite and as good as an apology can be, because it wasn't in any way shifting the blame for this to anybody except herself. She admits the stupidity. She accepts it. She is profoundly sorry. So then you have the fallout. You have school administrators. And I'm going to talk to the school district spokesperson right after Ursula's 12:30 news. I got some real problems with this. Well, we all agree how stupid her poster was. When the government and public school district employees are the government, and when they all are coming out and saying, we're not going to allow this, I've heard a lot of stupid things from 17-year-old kids. And this was not taken on school grounds. It was not using school district equipment. The kid has apologized profusely and rather profoundly, I thought. And now the government agents, within the school district, are telling this kid, we're not going to allow you to say anything stupid. Well, you better empty out the schools then, because 17-year-olds say and do really stupid things. I'm going to talk with Elle Michelle, the Issaquah School District's communications director, at 12:34. She talked to King 5 last night.
I had to read it 3 times. Am I really seeing this? It was awful. It was appalling. I think the most immediate thing on our minds was just saying, this is not okay. This is not okay.
Okay. And that's why I have a little problem. And I'll talk to her about this. This is not okay. So the government can tell us that we can't say stupid things. Well, there's a thing called the First Amendment that protects unpopular speech as well as popular. But that's a rather tangential thing. I went on Twitter last night, and I saw Issaquah High School students calling this girl's mom the most vile, horrible things, or people who self-identified as Issaquah High School students. As people were doxing her. They're putting her name out there. We, of course, are not going to release her name. Posting her phone number on social media. There's an effort. And what does everyone want? Do you want her to kill herself? Is that when you'll get some balance for a stupid sign that was copied off Pinterest that a 17-year-old girl has deeply apologized for? Is that in the realm that we're in now of teenagers and social media? Is that the balancing act? Somebody posts something incredibly stupid at age 17 and they have to pay for it with their life? I got an email from an Issaquah High student last night. I'm going to talk to him at 1 o'clock. And he said he tried reaching out to this girl. He doesn't know her well. She's a friend of a friend, he said. But he feared the same thing. And he said he tried reaching out to her and saying, look, we understand that this is one moment, and he acknowledged how horrible and stupid the sign was. But he's worried for the safety of this girl. Her college plans might evaporate because of all this and because of her name being out there. When she looks for a job, people are going to Google the name, as employers regularly do, and this is going to pop up. And, my wife and I talk to our daughters throughout their high school and college years. One moment can undo everything you have built in your life that is good and righteous and just and true and noble. One moment in this life today can counterbalance decades of trying to do and be the right thing. And again, I don't know this girl. I don't know if she's spent her whole life trying to be and do the right thing. She says that in her apology. But I know that this is out of whack. And I know that this witch hunt, like I said, I'm going to talk to the kids who are organizing the walkout tomorrow. And they sound like really positive kids from what I've heard. And I think their intentions are very true. But, I was watching last night. Channel 7 went out to Issaquah High School.
I don't know. Maybe
they asked what should happen to this girl.
I don't know. Maybe just get, like, a talking to. Like, I don't think it's, like, serious enough that they need to be, like, expelled or, like suspended for a long time.
I mean, no, you can't be expelled or suspended for saying something stupid. Again, every school would be a B school in classification because the enrollment would be 5 at every school if we're going to expel or suspend kids for stupidity. Here's more student reaction with KIRO TV.
I was really disappointed that students at our school would still participate in this kind of racism that our country's tried to move forward from.
I would think that just seeing it before even giving it to the guy she was giving it to, that she would have thought this is not okay.
And that's the part I still don't understand. How does any kid not know that something like that is explosive, that something like that could literally change your life for the worse forever? And, that gets back to what I'm sure you tell your kids. Like I said about my wife and me and our girls. One moment can undo everything. We always told you in college, don't ever have a picture taken with a Solo cup in your hand even. Nothing. Now, I haven't scoured social media to know if our hopes and wishes came true, but I'm amazed that any high school kid can't somewhat foresee the consequences of the sign getting posted.
But Dori, that has to do with them being kids. I mean, you don't think that far ahead.
Yes, and I mean, I've been honestly, I'll just talk really honestly here. I'm worried about this girl. I know,
and we cannot. And you read her apology, and I'm so glad you read her whole apology. People could learn from an apology like that.
yeah, exactly.
That's how you apologize.
Yeah, it wasn't. I'm sorry for those of you who feel offended.
No,
yeah, it wasn't that crap.
Yeah.
No, I seriously.
And it should just be a teaching moment.
And
not a life-ending
moment. And it
moment.
is.
Exactly.
Doug Baldwin gets on Twitter about this, and that doesn't help. And his message. And
this is the evil of social media. I mean, it has spread. It has been shared thousands and thousands of times.
Oh, yes. I mean, that's an understatement. Yeah. This thing is going like wildfire. But I also know how 17-year-old girls are, and you can tell me if it's true for 17-year-old boys. But this kid probably thinks that her life's over right now. I mean, I can't imagine.
If she is listening, it's not. And, you were talking about if people Google, and you know what? People understand you make mistakes. And you can't, we've got to stop this thing where we just go so overboard.
I'll tell you what, the Issaquah High kids who are on Twitter doxing her and saying such vile things.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
It's also, I think, as bad or worse than what she did. Because, look, what she said in this sign is ignorant of the worst shame of our history.
And we can't say it's not hurtful to people who see it and receive it. You can't. I mean, you can't minimize that. But again, she's apologized. She's made a mistake.
I will minimize that a little bit. I'll tell you why. I think that people race way too hard to claim to be offended, and I think that people are too sensitive, and this wasn't directed at any one individual. And as somebody who gets, 20, 30, 40 emails, texts a day that are meant to be personally hurtful and say horrible things about my wife and my daughters because I'm their husband and father.
Right.
And what I say is they're morons. I couldn't care less what morons say to me. And all these people who claim to be, horribly hurt and offended by this, I think that that's also a byproduct of this very active effort for a culture of people who just want to be offended at every single second. And all I'm saying is this wasn't directed at any one individual. But there are people who are saying things about her mom and that she should kill herself. And here's her phone number. Call and let her know.
This is where her dad works and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And hers was ignorant, but it wasn't directed at someone. I would say that there are hundreds of posts who, at least if we can believe what they self-claim on Twitter, from kids at the same high school who have said things that I consider far worse, and I'll ask the district person if they're going to deal with that as harshly as they're dealing with this kid.
And let's get real, too. I mean, Issaquah High School is involved in this right now, but this is happening in every high school.
You know what? We just raised the smoking age to 21. We should raise the phone age to 30. That's so, not just phones. Laptops, iPads, nothing until you're 30 years old. No social media allowed. That is, no, I was going to do just one topic. That's your big lead for today.
The Big Lead on KIRO Radio.
But I will continue with this story because up next, the communications director for the Issaquah schools will join me, and we'll keep talking about this. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can, Online Trading Academy text line. Let me know what you think about all this. 98973. That's 98973. I'll be checking your messages while we check the news next on the Dori Monson Show.